The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Greigg, and as always, I am joined with my co-host, Jacqueline Smith. And we're so thankful for everybody that has listened to this podcast. The goal of this podcast, of course, is to give you a system. It's to give you a system called the 15-Point Plan that will allow you to have the maximum amount of energy and the least amount of stress, right? Our goal is to give you a system and tools to increase your energy daily and keep your stress level as low as possible following this 15-Point Plan. And Jacqueline, over the last 2 weeks, we've really done a deep dive into the first point on that 15-Point Plan, which is goals, right?
Yeah, we have. And why do we need energy, Ryan?
Well, because our goals are not easy to come by, Jacqueline. I don't know about you, but I really try to set goals that scare me, set goals that push me, set goals that inspire me and those people that are around me, and not easy to obtain goals.
Yeah.
So I need the energy to be able to show up whatever it takes, maybe when I don't feel like it. I need the energy to be able to live up to those goals that I've set, right? I want to be the man that my dreams require. And in order to do that, I got to have a lot of energy.
Yes, that is so true. And so today we want to talk about if you are feeling unmotivated, is it a motivation problem or is it an energy problem?
Oof.
So I was thinking about this a lot this morning, and I know that when I am low on energy, right, it's harder for me to focus. I don't feel motivated. I don't want to eat well. I was telling Ryan, I want to be a lump on a log and like curl up with my cat and like do as little as possible. And so when I'm low on energy, I will probably set lower goals for myself because I'm tired. I will be more irritated, which will probably cause me to handle things, not in the best way, which will create more stress, which will drain me further, which will then cause me to feel even more unmotivated. And so, it's kind of like which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it a motivation issue or an energy issue? And I think a lot of times increasing our energy solves a lot of problems.
I think you're right. And we look at that. It's like, what is the difference between motivation and consistent energy? Because, I love I think it's Zig Ziglar's quote, like motivation's like a shower.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can get motivated today.
Yeah.
But that's not going to carry me through tomorrow. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll carry me through one day. But just like a shower, I need to figure out, I need to do these things every day. My motivation from seeing somebody do something might inspire me to take action that day, but it is my discipline that will allow me to keep doing these things. So the difference between motivation and discipline, motivation, we get these bursts of excitement and energy.
Yeah.
It might not last very long, just like that shower. If I shower today, but don't for 4 days, we might have a problem.
Yeah.
Discipline, though, is a little bit every day, staying on track, regardless of if we have the motivation or not, so that we can create that energy, which then leads to momentum. And in talking about this, Jacqueline, I'm realizing, like you just said, and like we mentioned on a podcast in the past, that momentum is really powerful, but it does go both ways. We can gain positive momentum as we continue on that path of discipline. But if we lose that discipline, that momentum is real in the opposite direction as well, right?
Yeah, I picture it like a hill, right? It's easier to like roll down the hill. And that's what you're doing really when you get out of your routine. And I know for myself that if I think about times where I procrastinated the most, it's when I'm tired and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that next week. I'll do that later. Right. And so is it that I'm not motivated? No, it's that I'm tired. I don't have energy. And so, yeah, it's easier to roll downhill. So your compounding effects of your choices every day, like you said, it's either compounding in a good way or it's compounding in a bad way and rolling you down that hill. And you pick up speed and it gets harder and harder to slow down and get back on track. I was thinking about the analogy of like this power plant.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times I think we think, okay, well, I don't have energy to exercise. Like, oh my gosh, I've got so much on my plate. I just don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the motivation, Ryan, to exercise. And it's like a power plant doesn't just have energy. What does it do? It's creating energy. And in order
Right.
for us to create energy, we do that by moving our bodies and we generate energy. And so we don't just have it and it is what it is. It's like this static, immovable thing. Well, Ryan, you were just born with a lot of energy. The people that I know that have the most energy actually do move the most. It's
Yeah.
interesting, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think of
Yeah.
like Melinda that I work with, like she's always got energy, she's always in a good mood, even when she's going through hard times, she's a very positive person with energy. But you know what she does? She runs all the
Yeah.
time, every day. She
Yeah.
runs. I know that when I'm in my movement routine and I'm doing my workouts and I'm doing the things I set out to do, walking every day or running right now, I'm running, jogging. Um, I'm I am a nicer person. I think,
Mhm.
you know what, Ryan? I think nicer thoughts.
Hmm.
I just no one else. I might be nice to everyone on the outside, but I have thoughts and I know that they are nicer when I'm taking care of my body.
I think we should pause on that for a second, Jacqueline, because that's like a really simple thing to say, but I think it's really impactful uh, because what we know
Mm-hmm.
is that on average we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on what stats you look at, like 70 to 80% of those are negative.
Yeah.
In other words, we have a whole ton of thoughts, but most of them are automatically negative. So if we can simply have nicer thoughts, like you just said, that's
Mm-hmm.
really impactful to our mental health, which then is impactful to that creation of the energy. I
Yeah.
love how you said that. Nicer thoughts. What an easy way to look at it.
Well, and our thoughts do drive so much of what we do. It drives our feelings, it drives our actions that we take, it drives our results because of how we're showing up or not showing up. And so I'm just obsessed right now with like, I am a power plant. And today I did not want to work out this morning because I'm sore from my workout on Monday. And I just started this running plan because my kids want to run the turkey trot this year. So
Ooh.
I'm not a runner, so I'm training for this turkey trot. So here's the deal though. I didn't want to get up this morning because I felt sore and I felt tired. And like in the Pacific Northwest, it's like dark, now this time of year. And so
Yeah.
like I just want to snuggle up in my bed as long as I possibly can in the morning. But you know
Yeah.
what got me out of bed was I was like, you know what? There's a lot going on. I have a lot I want to accomplish these next few weeks in business. I've got to get up so that I can create energy this morning. And that's what got me out of bed. That's what motivated me to get up.
Mhm.
Is that I know that if I skip that step, I'm not going to think as nice of thoughts. I'm not going to feel as motivated. I'm going to procrastinate more. I'm going to be moodier, which then just creates a snowball effect, like you said, a
Yeah.
downhill, like a negative compound effect. Yeah.
100%. And you know what's interesting, Jacqueline, is when we talk about our goal behind this podcast and the 15-point plan, we've
Mm-hmm.
rephrased it a little bit, right? From what Ben had originally created this 15-point plan for. We talk about increasing energy and reducing our stress. But, Ben originally created this plan to get out of a rut.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to flip that a little bit and say, I don't want to get into the rut. That's why
Yeah.
I do this. But
Yeah.
this plan was created on the opposite side for when we're in that rut. And what I'm hearing and what I'm learning is that momentum is so real going the opposite way. And if we're not using this plan to create that energy consistently, it's very easy to go backwards and to get into that rut.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at that and looking at the creation, and if we know that one of the easiest ways for us to increase our mood is to start moving, how can we build that into a regular program daily? How can we make it so that every single day we're doing some sort of movement? And one of the things I learned this year, Jacqueline, was to be a little bit more graceful with myself around my movement.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes just going for a walk is okay. And I know we've talked about that. Like, is 10,000 steps part of your movement for the day? If you think so and that makes you feel good, then absolutely yes. My movement this morning was going for a walk in the dark because I was short on time. And I thought I got about 15 minutes because I did this early Zoom call. But that walk was really impactful for me. I got out, I got fresh air in my lungs, I moved, and it was just that little bit to keep me going. On the flip side of that, I went for a walk last night, Jacqueline, because I got home and it was dark and nobody was there. And I so quickly saw myself going towards that rut.
Mm-hmm.
And this has happened for me over the years. If you live in the Pacific Northwest or you live in an area where it does get darker earlier, I've realized that's a real thing for me, that seasonal affective disorder. And I want to break out of that. So last night I was getting home. I finished up my work. It was 5:30 and I was going home and I realized I didn't want to go home because I was going to get depressed. So I pumped the brakes so quick, thankfully, because now I have all these tools. And I thought, Ryan, what can you do to work out of this negative rut? The first thing that came to mind was go for a walk. The next thing was move my body. The next thing was activate my muscles. The next thing was sit in my sauna for a little bit and listen to a podcast. And I
Mm-hmm.
looked and I'm like, wait a minute, I just did movement. I did hydration. I did like 5 points on the plan. And by the time I was done with that hour and a half, I had forgotten that I was going towards that rut. I worked my way out of that rut by following the movement, by following the system. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, I'm really thankful I've got this system because years in the past, I didn't have it. And I would sit home depressed.
Well, and that's the thing, right? When you feel like that, it's more natural for most of us. It's just so tempting to skip the very things that will actually help you. And so we skip the exercise, right? But ironically, like that is actually when you need it the most. And um, it's just like the power plant, right? It needs to run to produce energy, electricity. Our bodies need that motion, and then it generates. It
Yeah.
shifts our state just by what you did, like movement, going for a walk, doing some strength training, whatever it is, some yoga, getting in the sauna, right? Hydrating, listening to something positive or compelling. You shifted your state instead of going further into it. What are the things that help us go further into it that we make excuses for, that we say, it's no biggie? And I'm thinking of things that I used to do, like
Hmm.
when I was in that mood and it was dark and I, had a stressful day, I would maybe have a glass of wine,
Yeah.
or I would want to eat something, that I probably shouldn't eat, that wasn't
Yeah.
part of your plan or whatever. And this
Yeah.
isn't about being like legalistic or being perfect. I mean, I eat the chocolate, have the glass of wine, whatever. But I'm
Hmm.
just saying that might not be the thing in the moment that you need. And so be honest with yourself and don't make excuses like I did for years, and tell yourself that that is helping you.
Yeah.
Because if you're using alcohol and food and Netflix and scrolling mindlessly on social media and whatever else you do, that is actually pushing. It's actually, I used to say it pushes pause. It doesn't
Hmm.
help you shift in the positive, but I actually don't think it's pushing pause. It's rolling you further down that hill,
Yeah.
further into the rut. And we tell ourselves that we deserve it because we had a bad day, because we're feeling tired, because we had something stressful happen, you know. And those are the habits, those are the choices. There's nothing wrong with those choices, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that in the moment, if you're not feeling good, and you choose those over the positive things that will actually change your state in a positive way and improve your life, then you are getting further and further and further into a rut every time you choose
Hmm.
those comfort things over the very thing that will actually improve your mind and improve your body and improve your motivation, improve your energy, improve your life.
It's so true. And the interesting thing behind that, when you look at the science with your brain and how your brain operates, your brain wants you to take that easy route. Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
just do the thing you've always done. Ryan, just do the thing you've always done. Do the thing to mask those things you don't want to think about anymore. But like you said, Jacqueline, it's not helping them. They're not going away. They're just getting stuffed down or put somewhere else. They're going to come back to haunt you at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so in looking at that, going, when I just was a little vulnerable here and sharing my depression last night, but then I did something about it.
Yeah.
I took over agency of my brain. I took control of my brain and I changed the grooves in my brain because my brain told me last night, Ryan, it's okay, dude. You worked really hard today. You've earned your Netflix time.
Yep.
But I said, no, dang it. If I sit on this couch and watch Netflix, I'm going to continue down that path that's going to put me in a rut.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that and I threw the remote away and I got outside and went for a walk. And like, I guess I'm kind of proud, Jacqueline, because looking at that, I thought, wait, I made that change and I did that because I have these tools with the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. You created new neural pathways in your brain. Like you said, I like how you said you carved a new path, right? You
Yeah.
made a different choice. And every time you do that, you are making a deposit and voting a vote, right, for the person that you want to become, which is the person that your dreams require, the person that your goals require. Because if you were already that person, you would already be living those dreams and achieved those goals. So we are always becoming, right? And we're always really, we are a compound effect of our decisions. And every time we make a new one, we make a different decision, we are strengthening that neural pathway and we are making a deposit in the person we are becoming. And I love that. And that's so inspiring that you did that. And I hope that people out there remember this episode when you feel like Ryan did, because we all get that way. You know, and you make the right choice in that moment. That's so powerful, Ryan. You should be proud.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I love that. Making a deposit towards the person that we can be, towards the person that our dreams know that we can be. Let's make that deposit. So I feel like this is my own little personal coaching call, Jacqueline. Sometimes I just walk away from these podcasts with you and I think, gosh, I'm really lucky that I get to do this podcast with Jacqueline because she gives me these little tidbits that help my life. So I imagine if they're helping my life, that they are helping our listeners' lives as well. So thank you, Jacqueline. I do appreciate you very much, as do our listeners. And as always, if you enjoyed this podcast, share it with somebody else that might enjoy it. Hit that like button, hit that review button, and give us 5 stars if you're appreciating this, just like I did today. You can find all of our podcasts at winmakegive.com. as well as the rest of the podcast network. There's a whole bunch of cool information on there. So go to winmakegive.com. You can also download the 15-point plan PDF sheet and a tracker on the back there. And of course, if you're on social media, you can jump into the 15-point plan group online. Jacqueline, do you want to tell them a little bit more about that Facebook group?
Yeah, Facebook group is called 15-Point Plan for Life. And that is just a community that is full of like-minded people that are all on this journey. You'll see in there, if you hop in, there's different people just kind of always working on their own journey, their own challenges, and posting in the group, encouraging one another. And you can just find it by searching 15-Point Plan for Life, and we'll let you in, and we hang out in there. It's fun.
Great way to stay amongst other individuals that are working towards this plan as well and that want to create energy so that they can be the person their dreams require. Until next time, we thank you for listening, and we hope that you share this with everybody in your network that might gain some benefit. You can also reach out to us on Instagram, Ryan Park Greigg and Jacqueline Ray Smith. We thank you for listening, and until next time, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.